Okay, so again, I'm going to click Options, Record Screen, Start recording your screen. You can just click this entire window and click Share. I'm going to click a tab because I have a lot of tabs open, so I'm going to click Tab. Final presentation is what I have, and I'm going to click Share. And now I'm ready to go. You'll notice it actually has me in it as well. I would love to see your guys' faces presenting as well. So now what we're going to do is actually do the presentation. So we'll all introduce ourselves. So I'll say our project is, and you could be in the presenting mode because again, it's recording your entire tab or screen. So I'll say, I'm just trying to show you guys what I see. So hello and welcome to our presentation. My name is Regina Krugliak. I can also introduce Paul Mendricks, or Paul Mendricks can introduce himself, and Miss Lex. And we are going to be talking about the thermal mask with the charging port. So pick one person, and that's the person that's going to do your entire intro slide, or you can take turns. You guys decide that. So next you should have a few slides about the information that you have created. So based on the research, so the researcher and the slide creator are going to divide the slides that you guys have made based on the research. So what I'll say is that specifically homeless people, who was the user group that we were looking at, homeless people are at a higher risk of getting COVID-19. And that's a really big problem because homeless people have poorer health to begin with. They're also in groups where they can't remain at home because they don't have a home. It's much harder for them to wash their hands, and just in general, it's harder for them to keep social distancing. So it's a big problem that homeless people are at a bigger risk for COVID-19. The main thing that I wanted to point out is that homeless people have a really hard time following the public health advice. So paying attention to the graphic, it does talk about how washing hands, staying at home, and maintaining physical distance from other people, which is what's recommended, is not possible when you don't have a house. The thing that I researched was that most homeless people do actually have a cell phone, and 90% of them were actually using libraries before the pandemic to charge their phones. And a cell phone is so important because with a cell phone you're able to maintain safety if you're in any sort of danger, but you're also able to potentially get a house. Someone might need to be able to contact you to tell you that you've now been accepted to a temporary shelter, and you might be able to accept a job. So again, without a way to contact people, it makes it impossible to get out of homelessness. So super important to be able to charge the cell phone. So the prototype solution that we came up with is the thermal mask with a charging port. So people experiencing homelessness specifically need a way to charge their phones, and this is for safety, for job prospects, and for housing opportunities. They also need a way to stay safe during the pandemic, thus the mask, and a way to regulate temperature when it's hot or cold outside. So this is all what the designer of the slides and the researcher would be talking about, those slides that I've just gone over so far. And now the prototype person would talk about this slide and would create this slide. So for the prototype specifically, for the front view, you can see that it is made of a high thermal conductivity material that absorbs heat, which is really nice. So when it is really hot out, it will actually reflect the heat. When it is cold out, it will absorb that heat and transfer it so that it can protect and keep your mouth area warmer. There's a light that indicates that it's actually charging because there's a battery pack that you can charge while you're walking and absorbing that heat and also staying safe from COVID. On the back, you can see that there is a USB port, which is where you'll eventually be able to plug in your phone, not while you're actually wearing it, but when you take it off, you'll have some charge because there's a battery pack back there. And also there's a thermal mass, which is this pocket of water, and that's the part that is heating up in the back and creating the energy to be able to charge your cell phone in the future. The next person would be the Onshape designer. So the Onshape would create this slide and talk about this slide. So in Onshape, I was able to use the splice tool, the extrude tool. I made several different planes, and I used the fillet tool to create the mask. And you'll notice that there's a hole where the LED would connect to the battery pack, which is hidden right now because it's underneath the water thermal mass. And then this is the USB port right back there. And the last slide should say something like, "Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate any feedback." And that's it.